is a good thing I am not afraid of spiders. I'm a gardener, so that's why I'm not. But the amount of spiders that are in Texas are kind of insane. I probably should be more cautious of them than I am on account of like some of them can kill you. Never once cursed me. Snakes, I would have a heart attack. Not the point of this video. Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Sarah. Welcome, pardon the chaos. So today I'm doing a video that I should have done part of this video in January. I'm doing everything I read in January and February. I had said in my everything I read in 2023 video that I wanted to do them monthly for this year, just so it's not such a monster of a video. So I didn't get to film the January one on account of just my life being so chaotic, but I did want to film January and February before it got any worse in terms of like size of this video. I read 25 books so far this year for 2024. My goal for the year is 100. I am very confident I'm gonna hit it. I read 90 last year, so I just wanted I wanted more. So let's dive into everything I read in January. So I started the year off with a classic. I have like goals that I wanna hit rereading. So there's like different things. Certain amount of classics. I want to read a series. I want to read a certain amount of nonfiction to fiction. You get my point. I actually have like a booklet with my goals for reading in it. I'm incredibly goal oriented, so I can turn anything into a project. But I wanted to read, I think it was like 5 classics. So I picked up Dandelion Wine by Bradbury. I picked this for 2 reasons. One is historically, i.e. high school, I really, really hated Ray Bradbury, like hated. So I took like all the, AP classes for English because I was that kid. Obviously it was a lot of Ray Bradbury and I hated his books, like a lot. So I didn't read them for, 20 years. I was reading a book last year called, one of the Hillary Burton Morgan books. I can't remember which one it was. She has 2. I read both of them last year. And she commented that this book is the book that she gives away the most. So I was like, all right, let's do it. I gave it 4 stars, which for me, my rating system, I'll like show you, but my rating system for me, that was really liked it. I think the thing that I am very aware of, this is why I want to do a monthly one of these books, is if too much time passes, I kind of forget. There's definitely levels of it that are very poetic and very, the sort of the sweeter parts of yesteryear writing. When life was slower, and it's very intentionally retrospective. There's like elements that I really liked. It doesn't have the same flow throughout the book, at least how I read it. But I will say of everything I've read of his, I definitely liked it the most. In fairness, I I was like in high school, so who knows how I would react to it now. Probably haven't changed it that much. Next up, I read Financial Feminist, Overcome the Patriarchy's Bullshit to Master Your Money and Build a Life You Love by Tracy Dunlap. She's very anti-Dave Ramsey. Like that's literally like a chunk of her shtick. And I like that because I don't like him at all. Like he makes me mad. I find it to be incredibly toxic with what, like it's just not something I want to participate in. So I liked her because she literally like has like a bunch of TikToks where she just talks about trying to dismantle him. And I liked that. I like her advice as well. I'm a very big fan in general of women and money. I love listening, especially to younger women, talk about just all the like incepted misogyny that we think about, like, oh, it's the pink tax and it's makeup and it's lattes and it's Target and it's just all the little fucking things that they say to women about money. And so when you listen to women talk about, like, especially women that are so empowered, I'm so proud of like the younger generation for this. It's like one of my favorite things about Gen Z. I love it. There's just such they're the generation that grew up with school shootings. So there's just a fuck you about how they view things. And especially the women, it's just like, yeah, I am not taking this off of you. Love that. So I liked this book a lot. I gave it 3 stars. I think in part, I'm a big believer in like one book's not going to solve everything. So it's a good book if you're like, where do I start? There's another one that I read last year. I think it was called Deeper Than Money. I'll link it. That was really good too. It's just so much of it is not actually about money. It's about trauma, or it's about conditioning, or it's about it's money and love tend to be related. So I'm very interested. This is kind of part of the journey that I'm on right now for myself, but it's so interesting to listen to more empowered in this capacity women and like what they say about it. So I gave that 3 stars, which meant I liked it, would recommend. My next book I read was The Galveston Diet. The doctor developed patient-proven plan to burn fat and tame your hormonal symptoms. I gave this 3 stars as well. This is by Dr. Mary Claire Haver. She is a Texas-based OBGYN who specializes in menopause. I follow her on social media and I love her. She's also in Texas, which makes me so happy because I'm in Texas and it's just nice to know that there's like somebody out here that really gives a shit. If you have seen some of my other videos where I talk about my hormonal journey, I literally just went to the doctor. I've got to find a new doctor. I went to my doctor couldn't see me, so I went to her nurse practitioner and she kind of low-key gaslit me a little bit. So it's just same shit, different day. You know, there's just this like sort of bar in their mind of like what it looks like. And if you don't have, it's like PCOS. If you don't have like active cysts on your ovaries, you don't have PCOS. That is part of PCOS. You don't have to have it. It's just that thing. So I liked this book. It's very in the vein of a lot of the other ones. So this is one of those, if you've had like Women, Food and Hormones by Dr. Sarah, now it's Saul, she got divorced, but it was Gottfried on the cover. It's not a lot different. The one thing that is different that I do like is there's more like animal products in it. So if you're I'm a big believer in sourcing your food well and like sustainability is really important to me. So if you are eating, meat and dairy, this is very conducive to that. If you're more plant-based, you would like the Gottfried. Feel Good Productivity, how to do more of what matters to you. I gave 4 stars too. I liked this book a lot because it's a good book for some sort of consolidation of all of the stuff. Like, so it's by Dr. Ali Abdaal. He has a huge YouTube channel and he has a podcast and he's all the things and he is productivity minded. So I am somebody who's very toxically productive. I'm like actively working on this, but I will, the amount of shit I try to do in a day is low key terrifying. And it's not the point of this, but I liked it because it was like, you're getting to the true core essence of like what it is that you're doing and why, versus look at all the things I can do. You know what I mean? So I liked it. I gave it 4 stars, which means I really liked it. The Echo of Old Books by Barbara Davis, 5 stars. I gave this book 5 stars. I loved this book. This book it's so good. I really liked it. I know I'm trying to read a certain amount of nonfiction and fiction, and so I rewarded myself. I had done 3 nonfiction in a row, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. I really, really loved. I had some good books in January. That was great. I'm not gonna give anything away. If you wanna read like the Goodreads ditty on it, go for the Amazon or the whatever, but I genuinely that was great. The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. I also gave this book 5 stars. I am definitely in this season of life where I'm all about the sort of female, feminine, witchy, healer, apothecary, sort of like in modern times, the sort of peripheral roles that has actually been what kept mankind alive for a long time, things that have survived countless societies and civilizations and coming and going. So I'm really into that. And then just like literally how we survived. So like herbalism and supportive medicines, like supplements and like just like actually what it is, like healing gardens and just stuff like that, right? So this book for me, right up my alley. Loved it, 5 stars. The next book was Accidental Magic, The Myrtlewood Mysteries 1. I gave it 1 star. And then I said I DNF'd it at page 67. I couldn't take another crud. Oh my God, yes. A pet peeve of mine in general, I don't like it when someone says darn or crud or heck. Like, I don't like that. Just say it. Just say it. Because you're making me think it, so just own it and say it. So like, but like specifically the crud and the darn and the sort of like, I can't even say crap or darn. Like darn's not bad. Darn, come on. Crud specifically pisses me off. So like that, it's just like, there's some sort of like Duggar conditioning that it gives me vibes of and I just can't. So that was a 1 star DNF Then I went to another classic. I went to The Great Gatsby. At the Christmas party last year, one of the people that was here, who I hadn't actually met prior to, we got talking about books and he gave me a whole list of books. And this was one of that was on the list. And I hadn't read Gatsby since I was in school. So I was like, yeah, I'll pick that book up. And I gave it 4 stars. I read it in an afternoon. Forgot how short classics are, which is kind of nice. Not all of them, but some of them. It's an interesting book to read at different parts of your life because, one, I don't know how old F. Scott Fitzgerald was when he wrote it. I know life was a lot different 100 years ago. But 2, it's just the things that you notice and the sort of, it's interesting to me, put it this way, it's interesting to me how some parts of me have not changed at all. Some parts of me really have. And then I'm specifically in an era of my life where I'm reconnecting to the true me, like the core me, not just the shit that's been dumped on me as an adult, but like, what do I actually love? What actually fills up like my soul cup, my true authentic self? What do I really love? And so specifically, I like a kind of messier life. Like I like people that have lived and have a little bit of I like a scratch and dent. You know what I mean? So I like character. I like it. You got a story. You got something to say. You're not playing it safe. And that's something I really like about this book, it's just a bunch of people that just did it, you know? Granted, it's fiction, but okay. So then I read Magic Lessons, which is by Alice Hoffman. Practical Magic 0.01. It's like a prequel OG, the very beginning of the whole thing. I have not, for the record, I hadn't read anything by Alice Hoffman prior to this. Had not read Practical Magic. Still have not read Practical Magic. This book was 5 stars. I love this book. This started off, I have found, you're gonna notice a theme throughout the whole year. We'll keep picking it up. I love her writing. She does the most beautiful job of writing magic and people and blending, you know, the humanity of your actual circumstances and things that happen to you, that impact you, that feel unfair, just like the trials of life, with magic and with the sort of the universe and the sparkle of like the audacity of trying and not taking no for an answer. And she does the most beautiful job writing that. I loved this book, which immediately launched me into the Rules of Magic, which is this one after that. It's Practical Magic 0.02, also 5 stars. Loved her. So I'm now going to read everything Alice Hoffman's ever wrote, which is one of the things I really love about reading, is you just find people that you love. So those books, amazing. So now we're January 17th. Okay, so then I picked up Floriography, an illustrated guide to the Victorian language of flowers. This was like so quick. I really love this. I gave this book 5 stars. This is actually a book I got on Kindle, I think unlimited, and I'm gonna buy it because it's like really, you need to see it. But what's awesome is it's an illustrated guide to flowers. So it actually explains what flowers were sent for what or what they represent. So if you're trying to put an arrangement together, they actually show you how to do different arrangements. So if you're trying to do an I'm sorry, a grief bouquet, an I love you, I missed you, a friend bouquet, like whatever, they'll do that. But there's this yesteryear Victorian vibe to it that just, I love. It speaks my language. So big fan. Then we go to The Forgotten Witch by Jessica Dodge. Oh, I have such a thing for Scotland. It's so funny. I'm learning a ton about myself right now. Like I'm on this whole journey. You know, the universe is sending me pings. One of the things is about Scotland. I've wanted to go my whole life. Still have never been. But it's kind of wild how much Scotland showed up into my life in January. So this book is set in Scotland. This book I gave 4 stars to. I really liked it. It was so good. It's got a good narrative. I mean, I liked it. Would read more of her. Then I went to The Mysterious Bakery on Roux de Paris. This is a magical tale. You're gonna notice a theme of Edith Lane, who sets off to find her fortune in the beautiful city of Paris. I gave this book 3 stars. I liked this book. 3 stars as I liked it, would recommend it. So anything 3 and up, Wasn't my favorite, but I liked it. Then we go to Misplaced Magic by Jessica Dodge. So this is related to the other one, comes after. Gave this book also 4 stars. She writes sort of an adventurous magic book, but like, well, yeah, there is some war, but not like, you know, war. If we're tiering it, I don't really want to do that, but you know, conflict, not like brutal. There we go. Okay, then we go to Divine Rivals, Letters of Enchantment #1. I think this one had to come through on like Kindle or something. And this is one of the ones that you just keep seeing promoted a bunch. So it's like, whatever. I gave it 4 stars. I liked it a lot. It moved well. I would not say, personally, I liked the book a lot, but it doesn't pull me the way. It's a little bit more fantastical in the way that I tend to not go. So I tend to not go down the road of, there's like a fakeness. There's like a monster. There we go. We'll go this road. I don't like the monsters. So like I can handle pretty much all the weird shit you want, but like the second we start getting into like Godzilla, I'm out. You know what I mean? It's just not my vibe. But I did give 4 stars to it. I did like the book. The Story Collector by Evie Gaughan. Oh, I liked this book. I gave this book 4 stars. Sometimes I have to remind myself of the books are back because I read a lot. I did like this book a lot. It's super, like there's like fairies. Yeah, it's like the right kind of magic. There's conflict. It's a good book. It's cute. 4 stars. I wouldn't say cute. It's nice. It's good. Then I read Candide by Voltaire, which I gave 3 stars to. I read this book really fast because it's not long. I gave it 3 stars. A lot of people love it. It's funny. I will tell you that. It's like you will laugh out loud. It's funny. It's also just interesting to read a book that's so old where you just really realize how angry humanity has always been. Like we've always, I mean, obviously there's good people everywhere, but just inherently how fucked up we are to each other. And it's just so, there's always a flip side, right? So I like the messy and I like the kind of fun and fuck it, let's live our lives. I don't like theft, murder. I don't like the level of risk that can put you in harm's way or that you make someone else worse than you. I don't like a power dynamic that way, if that makes sense. I don't have that kind of element to myself. If you want it that bad, like just take it. Don't like hurt me to get it, right? So there's a lot of quartering and like a lot of really fucked up shit that happens to people very quickly in that read because it's not a long read. So that's just, I mean, that's a very hyper personal specific, you know, piece of feedback. Most people probably be fine. So now the last book of January was The Omnivore's Dilemma by Michael Pollan. I gave A Natural History of Formulas. I gave this book 5 stars. I love this book. This is also like legitimately so up my alley in terms of who I am as a person. I love, like one of my apps, like I love to read. I have grandma hobbies, right? I'm a millennial, that's what we all did. I love to read, I love to bake, I love to cook, I love to garden. This book is perfect for me because it's about like the ethics of eating. It's about, okay, well, if you're gonna eat McDonald's, thinking through the practicality of that. And then also he just examines it from all of these different ways. And that to me is really sad. It just explains like how we even got, like how we commodified food, how we even got to this position. Why? What do we not even know about yet? And this book's like 20 years old. So this is before like the big farmer's market explosion and all that kind of stuff. Like we obviously had them, but we don't have like, there's like 12 in my city at least. Before there would have been like 2, maybe. Right? Loved this book. If you're into food, if you're into the like kind of how things happened or like what it actually takes. Oh, it's so interesting. I mean, I loved it. Okay, then we go into February and I shifted gears strongly to like a rom-com. I went to He's Not My Type by Meghan Quinn. I gave 3 stars to. It's a cute book. None of these books really rock my world, but it was a cute book. I don't love a sex scene. I don't love, like I just, and I've said this before, but like I don't need to read sex. I'm 38 years old. You know what I mean? Like I know what happens. It's such a, I don't know. It's like, it's just me, but it changes the vibe of the relationship and the book. And it also, the reason I'm bringing it up is this specifically, the sex in the book can be triggering if you've had any sort of not nice things happen to you in relationships. So like if like certain names make you feel a certain way, or like aggressive touching, like if you feel, you know what I mean? Like if you're anything like that, it's worth mentioning, because personally I am very sensitive towards like feeling confined or feeling restricted, or I've like a hyper, what is it called? What is it? Small space thing, whatever, I can't remember the name of it. But there's something in that, like it's some sort of trigger for me. Yeah, so if you're sensitive to that, like worth a call out. Just, it's not the worst I've read, but it's definitely kind of like, I just don't like anything where they have to like make you feel like a whore. And that's not even like a shaming sentence. I'm not saying that in like a shaming way, but there's just such a, why do we have to go there when none of this narrative includes it? And now we're potential, like if you've had a negative experience in your life, it's gonna override what should be a fun little read. You know what I mean? That's it. Outlander. This is, okay, I gave this book 4 stars. It could have been shorter. And I wanna read all of them, I think, but I don't know, because they're so long and they really could be a lot shorter. But I love that she writes Scottish accents, like she does it pretty much phonetically. So you really do read it with a Scottish accent, which is super fun. So I did really like that book. Then we go to In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. It's the second book in the Lovelight series. I read the first one last year. That's just super cute. It's such a good, I love these kind of books. I gave it 3 stars. It's just a cute, likable. There's nothing that's like, you know, why did we have to go there? Like, this isn't relevant, you know what I mean? So I appreciate a rom-com for what it is. Then we go to The Widow's Wine Club, which I gave 3 stars to. It's cute. I actually should probably bump up the In the Weeds one, because I didn't like that as much. Then we go to Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries, book 1 of the Emily Wilde series. I gave it 3 stars, which means I liked it. I would recommend it. Then we go to The Bookstore Sisters by Alice Hoffman. I gave 4 stars. It's a short story. You'll get it done quick. She's just such a good writer. There was no magic in that one. Then my favorite book, I just finished this. My favorite book of February for sure was by Ruth Reichel. It's Save Me the Plums. It's her memoir from my gourmet memoir. Ruth Reichel, if you don't know who she is, listen to Julia Louis-Dreyfus's podcast, Wiser Than Me. She interviewed her on it. She has I think it's 9 or 10 episodes of the first season. Oh my God. She is this, I love her. She's this like Berkeley grad who was the editor-in-chief for Gourmet, which was a Condé Nast publication. So if you're familiar with magazines back in like when they were a thing, Condé Nast was like the bougie ones, all the luxury, right? So Vogue, Vanity Fair, Architectural Digest, like all that. Okay, so this is pre-YouTube, like house tours, right? So her story is like, God, she's such, I know I'm not even like finishing sentences. I love a food memoir. I love a food memoir. Anything Tony Bourdain wrote, anything she writes, I'm obsessed with her. She was the food critic for the LA Times. The way she writes food, and like there's this humility that she brings to the art of it. So like something I really love. I've always said this, like I worked in luxury. I love luxury. I don't love luxury for the sake of it. I don't want Versace plates. I want craftsmanship. I want something artisanal. I want you to have given a lot of a shit about this, right? Like this means something to you to produce it this way. And she has that same approach with food. So it doesn't have to be a 3 Michelin star meal, although those are amazing and their art and their experiences, and they tend to transcend the actual meal itself. Like it changes you. As someone who's had that, like you do leave different. But she also just the respect of the chef and the craft and the food and the cook and the reader and the how we break it down. And she just brings this really specific necessary, excellently crafted voice to food and to food writing and to like respecting all the people that do all the jobs. There's that humility that she brings, that where it's just like, oh my God, she talks about her driver and how her husband and her driver befriend. I mean, it's just, she's delightful. So loved that book. That was the last book I read for the year, or pardon me, for February. I mean, what the hell's going on? But I have another one of her books, and I'm gonna get all the other ones. I don't know, stand still though on physical stuff for a minute, just because every other month I tell myself I'm not allowed to buy a book. So for March, I'm not allowed to buy a book, which is fine because I have a lot of them. I also have a Kindle, so I can like Kindle Unlimited. And I have plenty of books to read for March, so we're good. Anyway, so that is that. The two books, my favorite from January, I would probably say would be the Alice Hoffman. It depends. If you want fiction, Alice Hoffman. If you want nonfiction, Michael Pollan, The Omnivore's Dilemma. February, nonfiction, but Save Me the Plums by a mile. By a mile. I think it was the only 5-star I gave in February. So yeah, so that's it. That's 25 books into my year, and I'm only 2 months in, which is great. I feel like I'm doing pretty well. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you're reading, or if there's any like fun rabbit holes that you're going down. I know I'm kind of all over the place with what I like and what I read, but that's kind of the fun, right? So I kind of expected to have more spirituality in my stuff, but that's mainly like podcasts and some of the other work I'm doing. But yeah, so we'll see. Maybe March and April will be different. But I'm gonna try to get back on the rhythm of doing these monthly just so it doesn't get out of hand. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, y'all. I'll see y'all very soon. Bye.